Let's put up this headline. Retired military leaders press Congress to pass Afghan resettlement bill. Some of the best known retired military officers in the United States have joined a grassroots effort to pass legislation to bolster support for Afghans who assisted the American war effort, calling for Congress to act immediately and include it in a spending bill that lawmakers are expected to approve within days. Now, in a letter to lawmakers, retired officers, over 30 of them, made their positions clear, and this is part of what they wrote. We are convinced that the Afghan Adjustment Act furthers the national security interests of the United States. It is also a moral imperative. And I am really encouraged to have those officers put in that finer point, Ray, about this is a moral imperative. It's not just about economics, it's not just social, it is moral. And how can you have folks arguing against morals or morality? Well, I'm sure that they will find a way to do that, unfortunately. They warned congressional leaders that if inaction persists, it will have grave consequences for the United States. If Congress fails to enact the AAA, the United States will be less secure, the officer said in the letter. As military professionals, it was and remains our duty to prepare for future conflicts. We assure you that in any such conflict, potential allies will remember what happens now with our Afghan allies. A very, very important point being made by some of our military leaders, Ray.
Yeah, I think it's important for them to, pitch this as an issue of national security, but I do want to touch back on the morality issue because the United States destabilized this country for decades of war, and honestly, for decades before that. With different tactics, economic tactics, and all that. But with the people who, were employed by the United States government, got like lots of translators who were used in Afghanistan, assisted the military. These people who were working for them put themselves in grave danger, honestly, and put a target on their backs. And when the United States pulled out, they abandoned them, and they gave them nothing except for that target on their back. And it's honestly a huge moral failing of the United States to pull out and give them no resources, particularly after the translators specifically were promised these special visas that they and their families would be able to leave the country and that they would be able to resettle in the United States. And the United States delivered almost nothing of that promise to almost none of the translators. Very, very few were actually given that opportunity. So they have an obligation to Afghanistan, to the people of Afghanistan, to own up to the promises they made and to give them the assistance that they need to recover from the damage that honestly was caused by the United States in the first place.
Agreed. We owe a debt of gratitude for those brave Afghans for standing in the gap for this country. Right, we broke it and we need to fix it. So I totally agree with officers in their push to congressional leaders to pass the Afghan resettlement bill before they go on break. Do that. Would you, Congress? Do something.